This is the full evolution of Sunflower in Garden Warfare. In the first game, Sunflower puts the combat in Combat Medic. Her primary attack functions like an SMG. It does not do a whole lot of damage per shot, but you fire a lot of rounds and it's pretty consistent across the board. Because of that, she's actually a pretty decent offensive character, but of course her main skill comes as a medic on defense. She's got 3 primary abilities: Solar Beam, which allows you to plant yourself and fire a giant laser until you run out of energy. Heal Beam, which is completely unlimited and will fire a beam of healing energy at the closest ally or potted plant, paying you money as you heal them over time. As well as the ability to put down a Heal Flower, which makes her one of the only characters in the game that can effectively heal herself. In this game, Sunflower is absolutely incredible and is a legitimate contender for the best character in the game. I've said it before and I'll say it again, the first Garden Warfare takes a lot of its DNA from Battlefield 3, so it should come as no surprise that the medic class is really fun to play as. Man, wouldn't it be awesome if for the sequel, EA decided to throw all that out the window and start chasing trends instead? But I'm sure that won't happen, right? Oh wait, yeah, that's exactly what happened. Garden Warfare 2 plays way too fast for a lot of people's liking, including myself, with the new pace trying to capture more of the Call of Duty era crowd. And while they didn't actively nerf Sunflower that much in this game, oh boy did the change in gameplay just completely screw over the medic class. Unfortunately, this game decided to focus a lot more on modes like Team Vanquish, where medics are not nearly as required. Not to mention that they also made it so that now instead of getting money every couple seconds when you heal someone, you get XP, which was just another big push by EA to try to convince people to buy more in-game coins because, you know, greediest company on the planet. However, to this game's credit, it did also give us the incredibly broken Vampire Sunflower, which ends up healing your character's health a little bit for every bit of damage you do. That's just a great ability. However, we're not done yet, and that's because, surprisingly, it was Battle for Neighborville that brought Sunflower back to her former glory. You see, after the backlash about the new pace in Garden Warfare 2, with Neighborville, EA decided to set the pace of the game back to what it had been in the first Garden Warfare, and of course Sunflower benefits from that. Yes, we don't have the variants anymore, but the upgrade system gives you a chance to make a really overpowered character here. And the new sound effects for Sunflower in this game are just incredibly satisfying, especially when you get those amazing critical vanquishes. And honestly, it just made playing as Sunflower fun again, and I really appreciate that. It's also worth mentioning that this is the first game where one of Sunflower's abilities changed significantly. That being the Heal Flower ability swapped out for the ability to just spawn suns around you to heal yourself and nearby players. It works very similarly, but does allow you to be a little bit more mobile, which I appreciate. But let me know in the comments, what's your favorite variant of Sunflower, and which of the Garden Warfare characters should I cover next? The complete evolution of Cactus in Garden Warfare. Starting off in the first game, Cactus is your very traditional sniper type. You'll typically find him at the back of the match in any game, just taking shots from all the way across the map and normally hitting them too, because Cactus players tend to be the most annoying character in the game, at least if you're on the zombies, since she's pretty good. A slowish but steady fire rate and consistent high damage help her be a very good sniper, along with some variants that change up that formula slightly, like Bandit Cactus. In this game, she has 3 different abilities. Tall Nut Shield, which allows you to place down a shield that is made out of roped together walnuts and tall nuts. Potato Mines, which allow you to plant potato mines from the original Plants vs. Zombies that, when zombies step on them, they explode. And the so-called Cactus Drone, a garlic-shaped drone that can fly high above the action for a fairly long amount of time with a light damage machine gun and the ability to call in corn airstrikes. Overall, Cactus was very solid in the original Garden Warfare, and that would continue over into the sequel, albeit with some new drawbacks. With the second game being way more chaotic and having a much faster pace, Cactus unfortunately struggles to keep up at times, being shuffled off to the side in favor of some of the newer heroes that the new pace benefits more. She still has the capability to be good, has a great amount of variance, but overall, she's just not as reliable in Garden Warfare 2 as she was in the first game. So the next game up is Battle for Neighborville, and this version of Cactus is by far the weirdest we've seen in any Plants vs. Zombies game ever. She still can be used as a sniper very effectively, but now to get full power on her shots, you have to wait a few seconds while you're in scoped mode, just like you do with Captain Deadbeard on the Zombies team. If you just fire it normally or spam it, you'll end up instead with some pretty low to medium damage output but consistent fire rate. But that's not where the weirdest changes occurred. That's because when you're not scoped and just firing from the hip, her weapon instead is an SMG with a similar fire rate to Sunflower. And it can be a pretty lethal one at that. If you manage to land your shots from the hip, it's got good fire rate and good damage output. You can really get some work done like this. And while two of her signature abilities are largely the same, the tall nut wall has been replaced with her ability to fly. Yes, she can fly now. Not for very long, mind you, or very high. I don't think it's as useful for movement traversal as Deadbeard's grappling hook. But you actually can use it to escape combat fairly well, and it's an interesting addition to the character for sure. But anyway, that was the evolution of Cactus in Garden Warfare. Leave a comment down below. What was your favorite variant of Cactus throughout any of the games? Let me know. The complete evolution of Peashooter in Garden Warfare. In the original Garden Warfare, Peashooter's about as basic can get. He's kind of the standard soldier that was probably best used for people who had come over to this genre of games recently from stuff like Call of Duty or Battlefield and needed to get used to how this game flowed in particular. His main variant can be used effectively at medium, short, and even somewhat long ranges, and has a decently consistent, if not very fast fire rate, dealing pretty significant damage per pellet. There's also some great variants you can use to mix things up, like Law P, which while he only has 6 shots, since he's supposed to be a revolver Peashooter, he does fire as fast as you can pull that trigger. His 3 main abilities consist of P Gatling, which allows you to plant yourself similar to Sunflower, but instead of having a massive laser, you turn into a P Gatling shooter. Hyper, which gives you ADHD and makes it everyone else's problem. And the incredibly powerful Bean Bomb, which acts like a grenade. You throw it, it babbles for a couple seconds, and then it explodes. All around, the first game, Peashooter is very versatile, and that last move in particular is incredible for gardens and graveyards. Moving on to Garden Warfare 2, Peashooter fared a lot better in this game than some of the other legacy characters did. While the Berry Peashooter was unfortunately one of the only variants of any character from the original Garden Warfare that did not make it into the sequel, some of the awesome new variants more than make up for that, and some older variants like the Plasma P actually fit this game's pace better than they did the original Garden Warfare, and that's really nice. So overall, if you liked Peashooter in the first game, you'll like him a lot in the second as well. But what about Neighborville? Yeah, Peashooter is one of those characters that really didn't change a lot throughout any of the 3D era games, because he plays very similar here in Neighborville as well. I do love the fun little animations they gave him. His sprint is very lively, it all looks great and plays, again, just like he did in the first game. And since Neighborville has a pace more comparable to the first game than Garden Warfare 2, it plays very similar to that. Even without the variants, you can still use the upgrade system to make a pretty good Peashooter that can hold his own online, meaning that this is the first character we've taken a look at who's equally as viable in all 3 games, and I really appreciate that. And if you want to see me do the evolution of Chomper next, leave a like and subscribe. It really is the best way to let me know to make more Garden Warfare content. The complete evolution of Chomper in Garden Warfare. Now let me make one thing very clear from the start. Chomper sucks, and he's always sucked. I know there are a bunch of people out there who like playing as him, but let me remind everyone, they just think, haha, Burrow funny. In reality, Chomper is fine in the first Garden Warfare. He's definitely one of the worst characters, but he's not unplayable, and that's a trend that we'll see continue throughout the rest of the games. He's a melee character, and one of the only ones that doesn't really have anything to speak of in terms of range. You have to get up close and personal with your targets in order to get those sweet, sweet vanquishes. One of his best moves is sneaking up behind someone to swallow them whole, and it works pretty effectively, the only downside being that when Chomper has eaten someone, it takes him a couple seconds to digest and be able to eat again. In that time rendering him largely defenseless. In the original game, he's got 3 main abilities. The aforementioned Burrow, which allows you to go under the ground where you're safe from most kinds of attacks, come up below someone and swallow them whole. Spikeweed, which places down spikeweeds from the original Plants vs. Zombies that, when stepped on, will pick up enemies and ensnare them for a while. And Goop, which, when it hits enemies, will slow them down very significantly, and it's quite annoying. So overall, while he's not exactly good, especially not in something like Gardens and Graveyards, Chomper's alright in the first game. Moving into the sequel, some things got better for Chomper while others got worse. On the bright side, the hit detection issues the game used to have when it came to the bite and goop shot occasionally are now mostly gone, and the goop itself is now even more potent. On the downside, you now have the goop recharge taking even longer. So on the whole, Garden Warfare 2 didn't do much to help or hurt Chomper. It's kind of a mixed bag once again, but then there's Neighborville. And oh boy, is he weird in this game. Remember how I said one of his best attacks was being able to come up behind someone and swallow them whole? Well, for some reason it's completely missing in Neighborville. They just got rid of it completely. Now you do slightly more damage from behind, and the only way to actually consume an enemy is by using the burrow ability. They didn't add anything to replace it. It's just such a weird decision to take that away, since that was the only move that made him kind of viable at times. Now I will grant, I like the sound effects that they used here, and they gave him a lot more liveliness and personality with the new animations, but they took a character who already didn't have a whole lot going for him and made him worse. What a weird choice that was. But if you want to see me talk about the zombies next, now we finished all the plants, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe.